Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new Infinity Watch powered by The Way We Nerd. We have not done an Infinity Watch in a long time, and that's a podcast where we do stuff about DC Comics, right?
No.
Oh,
man.
Oh no! Oh no! Don't worry. Hold on. Hold on.
Flat.
Hold on.
Dan has been fired and will be replaced by somebody else.
I got a quick change.
Well, thank God we got that corrected before we started, gentlemen. We're actually here to talk about the fact that Marvel Studios just talked.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. There you
All
go.
right.
All right.
I'm ready. And then for later on. This is for later. It's my Star Wars beanie. All right. So anyway, we're here to talk about the Disney Investors Meeting 2020, where Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and Mr. Kevin Feige, amongst others, came out and announced Disney's slate for the next 100 years. I'm guessing because they announced between the three companies, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Disney, there was probably over 100 projects announced. I have no idea. It was an insane amount of material coming at us through the big screen and the small screen. But we're gonna dive right in. This is the Infinity Watch, so we're gonna dive right into Marvel, and we're gonna talk Marvel on this one. Kyle, you take the lead on this and let us know. He's going to give us the movies in order or the stuff in order, and we're going to go from there.
So before we do that, just speaking with Dan Villalobos, I am Kyle Bound.
Oh, yeah.
The third original, because I don't know how to introduce people in order. The third original is Josh Potter. Say hi, Josh.
Hello.
And then we have Hudson, a.k.a. Hudsimus Prime.
Yeah.
And last, but certainly the least, is Russell.
Wow. Cold-blooded.
Sorry, I had to.
No, they always put the biggest star at the end. We've had this discussion.
There you go. With Russell Fung as himself.
My microphone. All right, thank you, Kyle. Forgive me for that. That was the worst host beginning ever because of that. Anyway, yes, Kyle, okay. Take it away. I'm gonna let you take the lead now.
I wasn't expecting much. No, I'm kidding.
You've been on most of my pods
dick today. I have.
You're on fire.
Okay, so they announced, if I am counting this right, I mean some of them were previously announced, but there are 25 Marvel projects officially upcoming, which is insane.
And that's
so
TV and film, right?
TV and film. Well, Disney Plus and film.
Yeah.
It's not TV. It's Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus cable.
And not one has an
X. Cable streaming. Sorry, not one has a what? Oh,
not one has an X. Not one.
Is that true? No, there's an X in Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know what I mean? No, there's no X.
And the Guardians. How amazing would it be? I'm sorry, this is a complete thing. How amazing would it be if the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special is where like they introduced the X-Men and mutants,
that would
and just
like
Wolverine comes in inexplicably, and it's just canon.
He should write on a big dinosaur like Boba Fett did in the Star Wars holiday special. Little callback.
Yeah, absolutely. T-Rex with a T. Like, do the Venom T-Rex from Old Man Logan. Have him riding on that. I'm all for it.
There you go.
And it's topical.
All right, so 25 things coming up. We have stuff dated through vaguely 2022, and then who knows what's coming when after that. So we'll start. We're gonna go in order. So
they don't all have year releases.
They don't all have years. No. Once we get past Moon Knight, it's all just
all TBD.
TBD.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Let's do it.
All right. So first up is WandaVision, which is coming out in just over a month.
Yeah. Very, very soon. January 15th.
Yep.
Yeah. It looks, the trailers look really interesting. Like it's interesting because the first conversations about this were that she was sort of like stuck in this, that she had like gone to this fantasy world where her and Vision are still around. But the newer trailers make it look like maybe it's somebody who's put her into this world.
Huh. I don't know if I got that. I have to watch it again.
I don't know. It looked like she and everyone else are then trying to break out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to put on Agatha Harkins as a patsy, I think, is what it is.
Could it be? I have an idea on who it is. John can back me up on this. What if it is either Nightmare or Curse? Because isn't Nightmare rumored to be in Doctor Strange?
Ghost, yes, he is.
And Wanda has already been confirmed to be also in Doctor Strange as well.
Yeah.
So Could very. I'm gonna have to look up Nightmare because I know that name, but I
maybe
don't.
it's a Nightmare and Dormammu team up, or maybe they're gonna bring back
Nah, they're not gonna bring back
Mordo and Nightmare.
They're not gonna bring back Dormammu right away.
I think Potter's onto it because if you have Nightmare in there, the whole reason he's there is because we all know Scarlet Witch is going to go crazy. We've done several videos about it. We've talked about it for the past year and a half, 2 years. We know it's coming.
Yeah.
In the comics. What they have to do now is they have to give her plausible deniability because she is in fact a hero. The only reason Jean Grey died in the comics was because the editor let it slide by that you just let one of your main X-Men heroes murder an entire planet's worth of people. The editor sees that, spits out their coffee, and like, okay, here's what's going to happen. She just murdered all these people. So because we're a good moralistic, viewpoint, you're either going to have to kill her and let her, die, or she gets taken to hell and tortured for all eternity. And so Chris Claremont chose the execution method to spare Jean Grey that bullcrap. And of course, stuff came out from there. This is what you're going to see from the Scarlet Witch thing right here. I think it is Nightmare because if it is Nightmare that pushes her to crazy, then she has plausible deniability so that when she recovers, she can come back and retain the seat saying that it was like, oh no, I had an episode.
Yeah. I was under control of something. Yeah. I will say this. I want to say one thing about WandaVision. I did not know Catherine Hahn was in it, and that makes me very, very excited.
It's always great to have Catherine Hahn in something. One other...
So good.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just going to say she's so good.
Okay.
That's all I was going to say.
Yes. One other thing. Isn't this where little Rambeau is making her first appearance as an adult?
Yes. Monica Rambeau. Yes, absolutely.
Monica, yeah.
Yeah, she is. I think she's a detective in here. And it was.
Did you think little Rambeau was like a superhero?
I didn't know what that
would be awesome.
I didn't know what little Rambo was. I couldn't figure it out.
Little Rambo. But it's like Lil Rambo.
Yeah. Well, they have that movie with what's his name? Will oh my God. The guy who's in Summer whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Back to Marvel. So
so she's supposed to be making her first adult appearance.
Okay.
If I understand correctly.
Well, that's cool. I'm surprised it's
sparkly.
Well, no, I can see it in WandaVision. I mean, they are trying to connect everything. Like WandaVision connects into Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange connects into Spider-Man 3, and all this other hoopla. But which is awesome. I'm not saying that may sound like negative, but it's not negative at all. All right, so WandaVision. We can move on to the next.
That's WandaVision.
That's WandaVision.
Moving on to Falcon and the Winter Soldier is coming out March 19th. So we only got like 2 months between WandaVision and Falcon.
Right.
Hudson, you are taking the lead.
Falcon and Winter Soldier has been described by Kevin Feige himself. Well, here we go. I did it right. It's going to be a Marvel movie that has been broken into 6 chunks through episodes. Now, this is going to cover a lot of ground. It's going to mainly be the decision or the decision film or series that's going to figure out who's going to pick up the legacy of Captain America after this. And you're going to have 3 main contenders, which I talked about in 2018. But if you didn't see that, it's going to be the Falcon, Sean Sebastian is Bucky, or potentially John Walker, who we've already seen in the suit, and we know was the Captain America replacement when he stepped away for the first time in the comics.
That's who I think it is.
Yeah. He's gonna. We've seen him. He's like running onto a football field, being like,
I mean,
we just know that whatever they're pumping into him is going to make him go psychotic. I think in the comics, Hunter, you can back me up on this potentially, but didn't John Walker in the Captain America suit like kill a dude with a freaking pitchfork? Like straight up, just like scarecrowed him full of holes.
That sounds right. I'd have to look it up to be sure, but I know that is part of his arc. Is he goes a little nutty, and then eventually he becomes U.S. agent and is brought back, I guess, sane.
Well, no, he starts off as U.S. agent and then becomes Cap. Because I have. That's right. I have the books. I'm actually reading that part of Captain America, that era, which is the era I started collecting Captain America. I want to say early 90s, late 80s. And it's like, because I have the first appearance of Walker and U.S. Agent. So I hope it's that, because that's going to make my comic, go a little bit more valuable. But I'm reading that story, and he's a dick. And he is U.S. Agent first. And Cap is, I don't know where Cap is. He's either disappeared or I don't think he's dead.
Cap he just got out of, it was the first time they did Secret Empire, and he realized people behind the government weren't benevolent. They were malevolent and various reasons for being there. And it really made him, take the flag off and be like,
disenchanted with everything. Yeah.
Isn't that where he goes nomad?
It is.
Or is that
he goes nomad and then he goes captain.
I have that Nomad miniseries, but I don't think he's Captain America. Or maybe it is him. Anyway.
No, he goes from nomad to the captain, which is the black suit with the red and white stripes.
Yeah. If they somehow convince Chris Evans to come back as Nomad, oh my God. But maybe in a what if?
I think so, man.
Maybe in a what if.
Maybe.
But anyway,
or his old Cap. That'd be cool too.
So anyway, that's I mean, that's all I got to say. Pretty much say about Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it is Walker.
Yeah, and I will say this: the one thing I think, while everybody's posturing and trying to figure out who's going to wield the shield at the end of it, or however you want to preposition that, I think the real main thing and the real legwork of this film is going to be done by the means of introducing the Masters of Evil into the Marvel Universe. Because once you have the Masters of Evil, that's a huge collection of villains that make up a huge ensemble of Avengers bad guys, and main ones at that. And what they end up doing is eventually they turn into the Thunderbolts, which then ultimately turns into a Dark Avengers team. Thunderbolts. If you really want to get into the nitty gritty and where I think this whole shebang is going. But the reason I believe this is specifically from, hold on, let me pull it up real quick. There was an article from I think is what it was. Oh, I don't want to lie to y'all now. Let me find it.
Slash film or?
Yep. It was I slash the, they're for like slasher, horror, sci-fi stuff. Yeah. Oh no, iFilm. I'm sorry. It's from iFilm.
iFilm. Okay.
It's right here. But anyway, they basically mentioned in that Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be exceptionally cool because they're reinventing characters. What he specifically was talking about was the fact that Captain America essentially was the Batman, while Falcon and Bucky were his respective Robins. Now, this is going to be a narrative turnaround because you're now getting to take the sidekicks who have developed into their own flesh and blood characters and turn them around and make them the stars. So not only was he referring to that, he goes on later to mention that they're also taking characters from the MCU's early days and bringing them back into the fold. And that can mean a couple different things. Some people have suggested it might be Liv Tyler trying to be Betsy Ross again. Some people have said Justin Hammer could be coming back in, which with Armor Wars on the horizon, that could be something, but we'll save that for later. But ultimately, what I think they're doing is they are going to finally dig Tim Roth and the Abomination out of the freezer he's been in for 12 years, whatever super jail they've had him, and they're going to bring him in as the evil Hulk equivalent of this whole thing.
Well, they confirmed that. They confirmed he's back.
He's coming in for She-Hulk for sure.
I heard about that. Was that confirmed?
Yeah, that's confirmed.
Yes. Yeah. They announced it on the stream. Yeah.
Ross back, and Ruffalo's going to be in the She-Hulk show. But we'll get to She-Hulk, obviously.
Well, then he's already rolling in. So exactly. But basically, the main thing about it is you're going to have Baron Zemo, who is the head of the Masters of Evil, pulling the strings behind the entire Falcon and Winter Soldier series. And I think with him being there, Abomination on the horizon, you've got Taskmaster and Black Widow. You have all these components that are basically setting up an infrastructure to churn out supervillains at a level that the MCU has never seen. So I think that's going to be their nice little palate cleanser before they finally get to Galactus in Phase 3. But that's just my humble opinion.
I really hope everything you say comes true, because I would love to have a movie that's just the villains. Like it's the villains are the focus, like a Dark Avengers movie. I was hoping that DC would do that too. I mean, they teased it, but I would love to see that where they're the focus, it's told from their perspective. That would be amazing.
Well, all right. I think that's, and I'll. This is a quick point on top of that. I think that's likely. I think the Dark Reign storyline is pretty popular, which featured the Thunderbolts turned Dark Avengers. You already have Scorpion set up in Spider-Man. You haven't seen him don the suit yet, but presumably we will in number 3 or soon. Yep. They're gonna bring Norman Osborn into things eventually. Like, they just have to. And
I think they're gonna slow play him, man. I think they're not gonna. He's gonna get his own movie.
Maybe, yeah.
I think he deserves it.
You have to have him in the Dark Avengers because he is a big story point behind that.
But I think when Dark Avengers
becomes
happens,
president.
But I think Spider-Man 4 happens before Dark Avengers.
That's fair. That's fair. No. Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
so
I think it's coming.
Osborn's coming.
I think the other interesting thing, and we'll get to it when we talk about Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel and all that stuff, is Monica Rambeau appearing as an adult. Monica Rambeau takes over eventually as Captain Marvel. Or as, I guess, Ms. Marvel in that sense. But they might play her off as Captain Marvel.
No, yeah.
And then when you get to Dark Avengers, you've got a new Captain Marvel. What's her name? Something Moonstar, I think. It's not Danny Moonstar. It's
Moonstone.
Moonstone. That's it. Moonstone. Yeah. Yeah, and she takes over and kind of wears the more traditional Ms. Marvel as Captain Marvel costume. So it's just interesting the way these things are lining up, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if that comes down the pipeline.
So here's
All right.
a question I have. I was gonna save this for the end, but you started going into Spider-Man 4 and Dark Avengers and like stuff that would be like 3 years after anything that's been announced, some of which still don't have dates.
Yeah.
So the whole MCU has gone from like unnecessary TV shows, like not bad TV shows, but like Agents of Shield, the I think it was 4 or 5, whatever, however many shows on Netflix, which are, and we could talk about that when we get there, but which are starting to bleed into the the greater MCU finally.
Yeah.
We've gone from the MCU as what?
Which they've always been a part of.
Yeah, but they've never been actually connected. Yeah. In the same way. And they've been a side story that you don't have to watch to get anything. Like, and they don't even really like, and this is an insult to them. It shows that like they don't, watching them don't add anything to the movies, right? Like if you watch Endgame, it's like, you're not like, oh, I'm so glad I watched Daredevil and Jessica Jones, because it really adds depth to this, you know.
But that's because but in the comics, that's where those were. Like they were the street level.
Right. But my point is that they don't matter in the broader MCU up to this point.
No.
And the difference now is that all of these shows are mattering. All of these things are tying together. You're going to have WandaVision, and then she's going to show up in Spider-Man or Doctor Strange or whatever. So all of these things are now fully integrated, right?
I wonder. Yeah.
And my question is, with 25 things coming out over the next 3 or 4 years, and like going from 3 movies a year to, you know, just in 2021, there's what? 1, 2, there's 3 movies, 4 movies in 2021, 4 movies next year, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe TV series next year.
Well, they said they were going to release 10 Marvel/Star Wars movies and TV shows within each year, basically.
Right. So my point is,
content
going from 3 movies to close to, you know, probably 70 hours of content instead of 7 or 8.
Yeah.
How long do we think it can maintain that and maintain the quality and maintain the eyeballs, so that we get to Galactus in 5 years, or we get to Dark Avengers, or, you know, at a certain point, does this just become too big and too much? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm just wondering.
I don't think there is an answer, but I mean, I don't think people quality. There's no way they can keep it up. So, like, I mean, Iron Fist wasn't good, so there's not like all these shows were great, you know, and like there's not like every movie's been great. Like people don't like Iron Man 2 or 3, even though I like both of them, but we're still gonna go see them. You know, like there's still gonna people are gonna go theaters see them. There's still gonna be people who watch it on TV. Like it's still, especially if they make them events, you know, the way they are. And it's like WandaVision. What is it? WandaVision is only 6 episodes, right? Or is it? No, it's Winter Soldier's only 6. What's that, Russell?
They're both 6 episodes. So
yeah, which is smart. These are little, you know, little bites. They're mini series, like in comic books. They would be that's what they were. They're mini series instead of in the overall continuity. But I don't know. I personally think we will get to that. I think this genre, superhero genre, is not going away. And Feige is digging into that memberberry stuff. And we're going to get, I even told Russell this, we're going to get a South Park episode that talks about memberberries, because Disney went full on memberberry with this. Like, we're going to get to that. Like, but because I want to know if it was Feige's idea, who just sat there and said, you know what? I'm going to join everything. I'm going to get all the stuff from the 90s, all the stuff from the 2000s, and everything's going to be connected. Did it come from him, or was it a collective?
I want to cut you off on it.
Okay, no, I was going to say is like, is with the memberberries of it all, it's like, they're like, I'm trying to even think of the right way to put it. So Guardians of the Galaxy meant nothing to me until I saw that movie. And that movie was great. And if that movie hadn't been great, I wouldn't have cared about the Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Right.
So just looking at this, like the things on here that mean nothing to me, ShangChi, the Eternals, let's see, She-Hulk, Moon Knight means nothing to me, Ironheart. Like, I just have no idea what like half of these things are, and that's okay. If they're good, I'll care and I'll like them. The danger, I feel like, is when there's this line that's very difficult to walk, where the more necessary the shows become for the movies, the harder it's going to be for some people to go and enjoy the movies, because they're not going to commit to all those shows. But the less those shows tie into the movie, then the less people you're going to get who feel like they need to watch them for the movies are going to care about them. So it's this like very fine line where it's like the more they integrate, the less people are going to enjoy or care about the movies, because if that's the only part they're consuming, and suddenly nothing's making any sense because they didn't watch WandaVision and Falcon and Loki and, you know, Miss Marvel and Hawkeye and She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
Okay,
and
Kyle, yes,
you know.
you could go on forever. You could go on forever on this list, and I want to hear what John has to say. But I'm just going to say this: I think at this point, it's one of those things that, like, I guess it also is a telling in our personalities, you and I, and Kyle, that at this point you just got to have faith in Feige that he's got a plan. He knows what he's already made it work all this time. We got to hope his ego hasn't gotten so big that he thinks he can. He thinks he can pull something off that he can't. We just got to have faith that
I do.
Because because here's the thing. My last thing. I don't think that they are going to put so much in the show that you're going to need to see the shows to understand the movies. People who saw the Avengers might not watch WandaVision, but they'll know who Wanda is and when she shows up in Doctor Strange. So I don't think you have to worry too much about that. Like, I don't think they're that arrogant that they think, oh, everybody's going to watch everything that's out there.
So let me rephrase this maybe a slightly different way. Sorry, Potter, before you jump in. It's the difference between, I don't think this strategy, what they are doing, which I am all for. Like, I will watch every single Marvel thing that comes out. Anything that's in the continuity, I will watch. I didn't watch any of the Netflix shows because they didn't matter. I didn't watch much of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it didn't really matter in the larger continuity, right? Coulson never came back. They never brought what's-her-face over from the show to the movies. You know,
You made it pretty clear that these things don't matter. So yeah. Go ahead and say what you're
saying. I think what this is either them accepting, admitting, or being okay with the idea that there will never be another Endgame, because the more content there is, if you are doing 70 hours of something in a year versus 8 or 9, that demand is never going to reach that fever pitch that it did for Avengers Endgame. Because if Infinity War comes out and then 3 TV shows, 2 movies, and, you know, an animated series all come out on Disney Plus in the next 6 months before the next movie comes out, there's never that starving for content that you get. And that's okay. I don't need there to be another, you know, a biggest movie that ever happened in the MCU again. I guess it all like feeds back into my concern that movies are done and that this is all just going to become TV shows and Disney Plus miniseries.
Yeah, I don't think movies. I think Disney made, by mentioning Black Widow's coming to theaters, they're not giving up on theaters. All right, John and Josh, I know you guys are itching to chime in. Go for it.
Go for it, Josh.
Okay, my comment is quick, and it might help Kyle see things differently. So the way I look at all this, and it's the way I looked at it when they announced Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then finally all the Netflix shows, which obviously because of one person in charge didn't link to the movies as much as we were promised, and vice versa. I think with these new Disney Plus shows, we will get that. And the analogy I'm getting at is, look at the movies as the 6-issue main series. So this is not going to mean anything to you right now.
I know what you're saying.
Right now, the big Marvel event that's happening is called King in Black. So King in Black, whenever Marvel does a big comic book event, there's usually a 6-issue main series. You can read just those 6 issues and get a full, complete story and not feel lost. But if you go and read all of the tie-ins, like there's going to be spin-offs, tie-ins from other books, like you might have a Spider-Man issue that ties into the main series, or She-Hulk, or Moon Knight, or whatever. If you read those in addition to the main series, you get just a broader and more fuller view of the story. It fills in all the little details that general audiences wouldn't necessarily care about or miss, but super fans like us are going to be like, I got to see that because I need to see every detail. I need to analyze it and theorize where they're going next with Marvel and everything going forward. So I think, to speak to Black Widow being announced that they're sticking to their guns, they're going to release it in theaters, which I think is great. I mean, I would love to see it now, but I'm also happy to wait and see it in a theater. I think that's what they're doing with this. Is the movies are going to be the main series per se, and all of the shows will be the tie-ins that give you the more detailed story. That's kind of the analogy, I think.
Potter, that was actually perfect. If you ever want an example, I can just let you borrow Civil War, which is that major 7-issue series, and you'll love it. Mm-hmm. And you won't like that's 75. I have all 75 books that tie into that series, but you literally do not need any of that other stuff at all.
Well, it's so one more thing I will say, and then we can move off this topic and move on to Black Widow and literally
John still had something to say too, right?
Yes, it's just really quick, just a specific response to that is there are people who go to the movies trying to, like, there are people like Katie, my girlfriend, who there are movies she will watch them until I think we get to a point where it's like she knows I've watched Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. She knows that, like when it gets to the point where she, like, because she's sort of, I don't know, I can't think of the right way to put it, but once she knows that there's stuff that she hasn't seen, I feel like she becomes less attached to the stuff that's out in the theaters, And again, I don't think this is like, this means Marvel's done and they're not going to make big movies anymore. I just mean, I think you lose potentially some of the more casual fans, Maybe you do anyway after something like Endgame.
So you're saying
like maybe it just never gets that big again, and that's okay. Like it doesn't have to.
Because Katie liked Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
So do you think she's not going to see Captain Marvel 2 because she didn't watch the Miss Marvel TV show?
I have no idea because at this point it's in, 2022. I guess that's November 2022. That's not that far out. But I don't know that she'll go see Doctor Strange or Love and Thunder or the Eternals or ShangChi or Black Widow.
And that's the thing, but I don't think she needs to get into Captain Marvel 2. Like some of the movies are connected, like Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange.
I guess my point is that she went and saw Captain America Civil War, whereas I don't know that in a year from now that's a movie she would have gone and see, right? I feel like she'll maybe do the Spider-Mans and the Captain Marvels from here on out. And that's it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, time will tell, and we'll know pretty quick because, like you said, there's a lot coming out just within 3 years, so 2 years actually.
Yeah.
So, John, did you have one more on this topic before we moved on to the next thing?
Oh yes. I have a thing or two to say.
Okay.
I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible.
No, I want to hear because there's a bunch of other stuff we're going to skip through that we're barely even going to talk about. So go.
Well, fair. But to answer Kyle's first question, the answer is between 5 years and a decade. That's how long this universe would be able to go on with its thing as it's going. And the reason I come to that number is because it revolves around the fact that constructed continuities like this can only last for as long as you're able to keep the nucleus of talent in place. And Marvel's been very, very careful the way they do stuff. They don't let a lot of just randos come in. If they find somebody, they're vetted, they bring them in, and they mesh with the vision they're trying to do. I think there's two factors for this. One, you're already seeing the escape plan because by entering the multiverse, you're getting away from the necessary to have complete continuity. What you're doing now is you're opening the Marvel Universe as a TV and movie series to be a functioning universe where you can just drop in as a viewer in whatever corner you want. You want to go see dinosaurs? Go to the Savage Land. You want to go to see the Bronx? Go see what freaking Daredevil's doing in Hell's Kitchen. Like, there's a lot of different angles you can come from, and they're doing this because, A, when you have a multiverse, you don't need to adhere to the consequences of what's going on. So ultimately, you can tell better stories if some of these heroes can die without hitting the bottom line. But that's where the whole multiverse theory is going with Feige, and that's why he's setting this up. But as of right now, the dissemination effect that you're talking about, I think is specifically a result of two things. The fact that they're trying to diversify to bring in audience members that didn't get drug in from Avengers Endgame the first time. Admittedly, that's not a lot. But what they did have, they're going to bring in with other franchises and stuff. So what I think they're ultimately doing is you're diversifying and you're kind of weeding out the fans, the people that do want to see everything. Because ultimately what you're doing is the end game for this whole thing, before that 10-year, 5-year button that I mentioned earlier happens, you've got the Avengers going evil, and you've got Galactus. After that, the entirety of Marvel's 85 years of comic canon has already been boiled, spent, and I would say honestly churned through a lot of the great stories to get to that point. Because what they're doing now is they're taking a condensed version of everything from Marvel's history and putting the best of the best of the best of the best and all these moments for these characters to respectively shine. If they hit great, fantastic. Look what happens to Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy you didn't care about before, and now because they did it well, it's golden. But that wouldn't have happened if they tried to make that movie 10 years earlier, because those changes largely came from a series that came out like a decade before the movie dropped. So I think that what you're seeing is you're going to see them trying to grasp for as many fans as possible, bring them in, do localized stories. If you don't care about She-Hulk, you might care about Ms. Marvel. If you don't care about Loki, you might care about Winter Soldier and Falcon. Because ultimately what they're doing is they need to spread the stuff out across the universe, because when Galactus comes in like a freaking bullet in the middle as a big, huge, purple-eating asshole, you're going to need to have everybody come back together. And you need to try to recreate Avengers Endgame as best as you can. And that's not going to work if everybody's piled up like they were. You got to scatter the board again like they did with Civil War. But this is a larger scale done through many, many solo projects. But that's just my 2 cents on that. So, but that's where I think they're going. I think it's everything you're seeing is very deliberate. That's just me putting too much into stock into this guy right here, this Feige guy on my shoulder. Yeah. But I think that this is all by design. He's either going to burn the stories out in the universe that he has, and then jump to a multiverse theory where every episode now is what ifs, or it's a single contained tale because everyone knows the characters.
But it's
so yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I said a mountain there, but that's what I was thinking.
No. Right. And I think that that all makes sense. I mean, like, look, and none of this is coming from a place of even like concern. It's more of like an observation. Like, the movies are probably gonna get smaller from here on out, and that's okay. Like,
well, box office is gonna get smaller.
Yes,
like, I think theaters are coming back, but box office is getting smaller.
I think as the box office shrinks, the scope of the movies are going to have to shrink.
And they should.
Not that you won't get to a Galactus that is the biggest fucking thing ever with 7,000 superheroes, fighting the big purple guy. The second big purple guy, I guess.
You mean a giant space cloud?
No.
Yes, there you go.
Russell had a good point about that space cloud. When we get to F4, we'll talk about it.
But so I think what Marvel's doing that I really appreciate, that is the same thing Star Wars looks to be doing, and we'll talk about Star Wars in a different pod, is I appreciate what they've taken is this idea that superhero movies are a genre, or Star Wars movies are a genre, and said, fuck that. It's not a genre. It's a setting. It's a world. The MCU is a world in which stories take place. Star Wars is a world in which stories take place.
That's what you're saying.
In the Marvel movies, you are going to have the time-hopping, universe-hopping adventure of Loki. You are going to have the spy thriller of Black Widow. You are going to have the, like, Bourne style, or like Bond, or whatever combination of those kind of like secret agent movies with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they're, jumping around the world and doing, you're going to have all of these different genres within the setting of superhero movies instead of the superhero genre, and those are going to be these like 6-hour, sort of mini stories. And Star Wars is doing the same thing with Ahsoka, and, Cassian Andor is going to be the Bourne identity in Star Wars, and so even if as the world spreads out, the movies get smaller, I'm okay with that. My concern is ultimately when the box office starts going down, which it is going to anyway, because of 100 million reasons that Warner Brothers has, or 100 million decisions Warner Brothers and other companies are making. My hope is that Disney's like, no, we're good.
Well, they seem to be so far.
That they're not worried about it.
I don't think they are. I think Disney, they came out of this, like, this is an investors meeting. So obviously this is to the people that are giving them money. So
yes, they say that now.
Yeah. So
but this is America, and we're always worried about the stock price for the next quarter. And so if those box office receipts drop 5%.
I'll say this. They haven't canceled anything Marvel yet that I could think of.
Totally.
Except for Gambit. But that was Fox.
Anyway, look, Black Widow's going to do badly at the box office, and it's not going to have anything to do with Marvel, the movie, or Disney. It's going to have everything to do with only half of the population is going to be vaccinated by May 7th.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and it's just I just don't generally trust any companies in the States to have a long enough view to not panic about things like that, like Warner Brothers. I hope they don't.
well, that was a different problem. We
Say-
talked about the death of theaters. So let's keep
Yes.
going then. Keep on moving. What we got next?
So Black Widow,
Which we already talked about. Yeah.
Yes.
Taskmaster.
So then after that is Loki.
All right, the Loki
in
show.
May.
The only is somebody assigned to that one, or was that group?
I am. I really
go.
honestly, and I won't go too far into it, but this is the one that decides if the Marvel Cinematic Universe makes sense or if it's all just been bullshit up to this point.
Fair enough. Russell had something fun that he said on the pod that him and I did last night. What did you say that you thought it was like a detective series, like the way it was the trailer showed it?
Oh, Loki, like
Yeah.
it just kind of looked like it's his own mystery. He's inside his own mystery thriller show, so it's a genre show. So, but I don't know much about Loki, like other than sizzle reel, and whatever surprises they throw at us, it could be like the Mandalorian. We thought it was gonna be a show where every week we watch a Boba Fett wannabe catches a bounty. That's what we thought Mandalorian would be, but that's not what it was. It turned out to be a show about Lone Wolf and Cub. So,
a western, eastern western, basically.
Yeah, so with Loki, whatever they show us in a sizzle reel is probably just a tease, but it's probably not what we think it would be.
Well, I like that you say that, because the only thing I have to say about the Loki trailer is that one shot sure does look like the back of Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's head, in that whatever that planet was that she was left where she died in Endgame. Vormir, yeah. Am I wrong, Potter and Hudson? Did that not in that trailer? Did that not look like?
Or is that what they want us to think?
That's what you said. I think you said that in the text thread. Somebody said that in the text thread.
Yeah, I don't trust them. This is a movie. This is a whole TV show dedicated to the god of mischief and deception. I don't trust shit until I'm watching.
But here's the thing, and this is where I think we might get either lose Kyle or he's gonna go on a rant. This is an alternate timeline. Like, this is a skewed timeline where Loki is in a different place, and he's also not the same Loki as that died in Endgame. Like, he wasn't redeemed. Yeah, he's exactly. Well, he's still mischievous.
So yes, totally. This is the Loki from Avengers original, OG Avengers Loki.
Yeah.
The question I have for this series, and for just whether the MCU up to Avengers Endgame makes any sense, or is not as
that's what you were saying,
tight as it feels, is at the end of this, does he go back to Avengers? Because everything up to this point has not required any branching off of universes, and so like there's no reason to take the stones back to their original point in time if taking those stones in the first place caused these branch off universes. If Loki disappearing caused a branched off universe, there's no need to take the stones back because the stones were taken from those universes. So putting them back doesn't change anything in their universe. The only reason to take them back is because of what it changes in their universe.
Yeah.
So so that's my big question, is like, if Loki doesn't go back, then I have no idea what happened in the MCU. And because that is my biggest pet peeve in things, is like when Flashpoint happened in The Flash, I was done with the show. When Peter was wiped out of existence in Fringe, it knocked the show down 17 points. It's just when they start saying like, okay, remember all the stuff that happened before and all those characters that you love and all of that, none of that happened. It doesn't matter anymore, which is different from a multiverse.
Yes.
So if we're supposed to be thinking that like, okay, well, Loki's or like, where's Gamora from? Is this an alternate universe Gamora who showed up? In which case, when they went back to get the stone, they weren't going back in our universe. So again, that's a separate universe. So why even have to take the stone back? Sorry.
Well,
why not go get like the Soul Stone from a different universe so that you never have to get rid of Gamora in the first place? It's just a whole thing that just makes the MCU up to Endgame just at a certain point. If they're not, if this, like, Loki is the series that is going to tell me like,
I don't think it's going to be.
Do I continue really caring?
I think Loki's just a fun alternate universe that they're going to play in, that they can do more stuff with, that they couldn't do in the main continuity. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the next show then. Or movie.
Sorry, yes.
Whatever's next.
Next is What If?
That was Mr. Hudson.
Next summer.
Oh, what if we could talk about this? And actually, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I do have a lot to say about it, but it's so beyond right now.
Do this. Do a little tease of what you're going to do on your own channel, on your own show.
Well, I was going to also bring it over here. My main process was you're going to have to literally break down all 26 episodes because each one is examining in and of itself an entire movie, an entire 2 hours, broken down, condensed, and one thing changes for a 30-minute episode, presumably. Could be an hour, I don't know. But either way, there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of options. We know for sure there's a few things. There's T'Challa is going to be new Star-Lord. We know that Peggy Carter is going to be the new Captain America for that Captain America movie.
That's the one I'm really excited about.
So
yeah,
wait.
I even my Taylor, my wife, she was even talking about it. I showed her all the trailers that dropped over the past few days, and literally, What If was what she was most excited about. So take that.
Well, okay, and that is Haley Atwell doing the voice. Like Russell confirmed that for me. So does that mean, because I told Russell this, they were very careful not to have Doctor Strange or Tony Stark speak in that trailer. I have a feeling Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the voice of Tony Stark. Cumberbatch is going to be Strange.
That was the rumor for a long time, is that he was not fully done with the MCU, that he would be back for What If.
Yeah, and Rooker's doing Yondu, so that's totally Rooker, his voice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that totally was him.
I'm excited about. At first, I was like, the animation kind of was like, but like Potter always tells me, to just give it time, and like I still can't get into Resistance. Star Wars Resistance, because of the animation. Anyway, all right. Anybody, Potter, do you have anything to say about What If? Nope.
No, just looking forward to seeing how they screw with things. So,
all right, let's move on to the next.
All right, next up is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Did you want to talk about this, Russell?
Russell, I love your sweater, by the way, Russell.
You don't have to. That's because you're Asian.
I know. As an Asian guy, like for me, like it's the first Asian male lead in a Marvel Cinematic Universe property. So that's not the sole reason why I'm excited for this. It's just basically we get to have Mandarin, and yes,
finally,
yes, and hopefully they do him properly this time. And I think they heard the feedback, and I think they're gonna do Mandarin right. And we have a huge Asian cast, which I'm so excited for because representation, inclusion, diversity is important for me. And but more importantly, like before I dive off of Shang-Chi, there's like another group of people that I grew up with in high school that I didn't even consider, which are like my Pakistani friends. And I'll hand it off to Dan later, but there's a show that's gonna have a Pakistani lead.
Yeah. So
these kind of things are super exciting for me for Phase 4 of Cinematic Universe.
Well, and I don't know how long down the road Miss Marvel is on this list, but the whole thing I was going to speak about with diversity was it kind of ties into what Kyle was saying about like, is they going to be able to maintain the audience? Well, here's the audiences they're going to bring in because black kids finally have their Superman with Black Panther. Shang-Chi's going to, give the Asians a hero. And Middle Eastern people are going to get a hero with Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel. And, especially we have Kamala Harris as our vice president. And, it's just like all these things happening, I think is going to keep Marvel fresh. And it's going to keep people watching that wouldn't normally experience a Muslim American family. And we're going to, because the comic book is so good at that. Like her family is a very important part of that comic book story. Like they go home in her house a lot and you get to know her parents really, really well. And it's adorable in the beginning because they don't know she's a superhero. And when they find out, it's fantastic. And then they make them forget. They do the whole memory rod thing. I don't remember how they make them forget, but they make them forget. But anyway, but yeah, I think that's also a way that they're going to be able to keep people coming in despite just the overload of content. Because this investors meeting, like I want to ask you, Potter, because I was kind of joining in with Kyle and Moorhead as they were talking during the investors meeting, but I would look away for about 2 minutes, and I look back, and there's 46 messages on my phone from them, just them two. I don't know how many messages you came to because you weren't in that thread at all. You weren't talking at all. So
95.
Yeah.
Half of them were just me going, "Oh my God, Rogue Squadron! Yes, yes, yes."
Yes, pretty much they were. That's the thing is, and eventually you guys started like not saying what you were getting excited about just to piss me off. But
yeah, that was specifically for Lightyear
because I wasn't actually watching.
Fucking exciting.
But that was so good. So I had to look as soon as you said that. I looked it up. But we'll talk about that. But anyway, so yeah, what we got next? What we got next after ShangChi?
So really quick, because I mean, Miss Marvel is coming up after the Eternals, which is next. But the one sort of thing about the Miss Marvel of it all is it's kind of too bad it's not an actual movie, that it's being sort of like put on Disney Plus, because it's the like.
But what if it builds an audience there to get a movie?
But
she's in Captain
Marvel
too.
Totally. But like, I guess what I'm saying is like it would be nice if that superhero and that representation wasn't limited to Disney Plus, you know. And look, yes, she's totally going to be in Captain Marvel too, but like that's the Brie Larson show, as it should be, you know. So I mean, look, it's great. I'm not against it. I just wish it was like a bigger platform for something like that, because I don't think it's going to get to a lot of the people who, you know, wouldn't necessarily watch it, because it's very different with a TV show than it is with a Marvel movie.
I know, man, but I think it's small steps. Like, you know, it's just one of those things that like I agree with you. I'd rather have it in the,
that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I'm not saying it's like a horrible thing. I'm just saying I'd rather that representation was on the big screen instead of the small one.
Not that I want to. I mean, we shouldn't skip Eternals completely, because that does have representation as well. Because Kumail Nanjiani became super god looking, like his physique is just like ridiculous. I don't even know what character he's playing. I don't know the Eternals, so I don't know if Potter and
nothing about
John, but I don't know the Eternals at all. Like, can you name me the most popular Eternal? Like
without
Phil Eternal.
Seriously, she was an Avenger. Seriously.
Yeah.
Who'd you say, John? I couldn't hear.
Seriously, Sersi. She was an Avenger in the 80s.
See, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
She has shape change powers. She put on one of those Avengers leather jackets in the 90s when it was cool to do it.
I do remember that look.
She did a couple good pinups.
What'll be interesting about the Eternals, and this sort of ties into Ms. Marvel, because I wonder if they're going to go with, I hope they go with her actual origins, where she's technically an Inhuman. Ms. Marvel.
Yes, yeah.
Technically.
Camilla Khan, you mean, right?
Yes. So I mean, I'm sure they'll stick with that, but considering they had the failed Inhumans series, I wonder if they'll reboot the Inhumans through Ms. Marvel, which could be interesting. But the Eternals will have some ties to Galactus, to Thanos. It'll really open up the cosmic universe a lot more. It'll also have ties to the big planet destroying giants you see in Guardians of the Galaxy, one of which is a giant floating head in space called Nowhere.
He knows what he did.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Wait, what'd you say, Russell?
I was making a joke. It's not related. I just said it's Zordon, big floating head.
Oh, Zordon.
Zordon, yeah.
So is there any
different property?
So is there any tie-in to like Ego with the Eternals?
Probably not.
Or like, okay.
Yeah, he's his own thing. It was easier for movie audiences to digest it if you made him a part of this species of God that's going to come in later. But in the comics, I think he's just a planet. They're just a thing for symbiote, whatever you call it.
Well, his loneliness. Yeah, well, yeah, and his loneliness is a big part of his character. The fact that he's the only one of him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. His first appearance is in Thor. He pops up in Fantastic Four. They fight him. But Thor deals with it a lot. And I have. Well, we'll talk about
when we get to
Thor when we get to Thor.
I just realized I just realized that Kurt Russell and now his son Wyatt Russell are now both in the MCU, because Wyatt is playing John Walker. And Wyatt is a very fine actor in his own right. The few movies I've seen him in, he's really good. So I'm excited for him as John Walker. I should have mentioned that earlier. But anyway, so I guess the Inhumans, I'm just excited about, like I said, Kunal. So, I can't even remember who else is in it. I can't remember who else is in it.
Angelina Jolie.
I said
Robert.
Oh yeah,
Madden or something like
wait,
that.
Robert Pattinson?
No, the
Madden.
kid from Game of Thrones.
Richard Madden.
Oh, Richard Madden. Okay, I like him
Richard
too.
Madden. Richard
Okay,
Madden.
well, I'm gonna see it obviously. Like Kyle says, like it's Marvel, I'm gonna see it, but I just don't know what it is. Anyway, all right, so let's move on to the next thing then. What's that?
Next up is Miss Marvel,
we pretty much covered Miss Marvel. Yeah, we talked about it now. So let's move on to the next
and then Hawkeye.
That's exciting. I love Haley Stan. Yeah, Haley Stanfield. I love her, and I love that character, Kate Bishop, and they cast that perfect. Like, I don't know. There's people who probably could do it as well, but nobody better.
Kyle, this is a chance. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is a chance for you to read a comic book, because I think it's one you'll actually like. And I think that's what the series is going to be based on. Matt Fraction, who is a prolific comic writer and is awesome.
Yeah, Fraction's great.
Yeah, he and who's the artist on it? Is it
is it Mayleaf?
Who?
What series?
Alex Mayleaf? Or no, it's the other guy.
No, Aja.
Maybe I'm having it in the room. Let me get it.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk while he looks, because this is terrible, but I've forgotten which artist does it. But anyway, Matt Fraction wrote a volume of Hawkeye for Marvel, and it features Kate Bishop. And I'm pretty sure that volume they're going to pull a lot of stuff from that for the show.
Oh yeah.
But I think you would really enjoy it just as a read.
That comic for that year it came out was the hottest book out there.
Yes,
like, it was the hardest one to find. It had 5 printings on each issue. Like it's really, really good.
It is very good. Yep. So I would recommend you. I think it's a couple of trades, maybe long, 2 or 3. I don't remember, but you can get it all as a trade paperback now.
I think I have it too. I think I have the first one. Oh, there you go.
David Aja. You can't say
it is Aja. I was right.
David Aja. You were right.
Nice. Cool.
You were right. All right. Yeah, really cool art too.
Yeah, I highly recommend reading that before the series comes out, because that's what they're gonna base it on, I think.
Unless you want to come in without any spoilers, and then
thus far I've pretty much come in without spoilers.
That's true.
Most of the comics I've read have not been from either Marvel or DC.
Oh, I do have one question about this. Is this take place after Endgame or before?
I mean, we post time jump
between Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay, so this is when his family's been dusted.
Yeah, and then I feel like he was teaching his daughter archery before it happened, and
that's true.
Kate Bishop picks up on that and becomes the daughter that has now been dusted. And I think that's probably something awkward in the future once she comes back. So who knows?
Well, maybe Kate Bishop goes villain. That'd be fun. Or his daughter goes villain. It'd be even better. Be more interesting.
Why do you love me like you love Kate? You were gone for 5 years. Leave me alone.
All right, what's next?
Next up is Spider-Man 3, December 2021.
Okay, this is where I'm confused. So Spider-Man 3 comes out before Doctor Strange. Yet Doctor Strange is where they're bringing in Dr. Octopus.
I don't think so.
I got confused. Like I thought, because they said Sam Raimi.
Doc Ock was coming in Spider-Man 3.
So all these characters are going to premiere. They're pulling in Spider-Man 3 is going to have them all.
So
the three Spider-Men.
Look, I have it. So as of right now on this schedule I am looking at, there is nothing set between December 17th when Spider-Man 3 comes out and March 25th when Doctor Strange comes out. I would bet money. I mean, again, I'm not a comic person. I haven't read the comics. I don't know how any of this works in the comics, but I would put money on this essentially being a 2-parter between Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange.
I would agree with that.
Spider-Man is not, I don't think Spider-Man 3 is going to be a Spider-Man and Spider-Man and Spider-Man. And I don't think the whole movie is going to be, okay, all 3 of these worlds have collided from the beginning. That feels to me like it's a third act thing where something happens in Spider-Man that leads to this intermingling of universes that is then solved in Doctor Strange.
This is what they're going to do.
It shouldn't be, because that's a Sony movie. a Sony, I don't think it'll be connected. I think it would stand on its own, and it would have repercussions into the next movie. But I don't think they would be like two-parters.
This is what they're gonna do. And John can jump in here too, because I bet he's got theories, maybe similar, or maybe this will get him thinking differently.
Maybe one
I
or two.
think this may tie into Secret Invasion a little bit, which we'll get to, maybe, but more so, I think they're going to, since they're going to touch on this in Spider-Man as well as Multiverse of Madness, I would not be surprised if this is the movie version of the end of the Ultimate Universe in comics. What happens, quick 10 peso version here.
Yeah. You're talking about
the Ultimate line of Marvel Comics, which they created to bring in young readers and kind of do fresh takes on all the characters, Spider-Man, the X-Men, Fantastic
Four. Miles
Four.
Morales.
Miles Morales comes into play. Yes.
Fallout number 4.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And then you've got the Ultimates, like you've got the actual Sam Jackson version of Nick Fury from the Ultimate line of comics, which is what they initially pulled a lot from for Phase 1.
Well, they actually specifically drew him like Samuel Jackson in the hopes that he would play him someday.
They did. That's fair. Yep. So what happens at the end of that, spoilers, is the Ultimate Universe collides with the main Marvel Universe and is obliterated. They can only save one universe. So they save the main Marvel Universe and pull in some of those Ultimate characters. That's why you now have Miles Morales running around in the main Marvel continuity. Like the 616 universe. Crazy. So I think this is the way they're going to start doing all of that, which they will expand upon in Doctor Strange and open up the idea that this happened with this world, this alternate universe. What if it happens with all these others? Which is also how we're now going to get all the X-Men. We're going to get Fantastic Four. We're going to get all that stuff. What if all of that collides
so much
in Spider-Man and Doctor Strange? And that's how we get all that stuff in the Marvel Universe. That's my thought. John, what do you think?
More or less, that's what I'm thinking at. But I would say for direct path, based on the casting and what I've seen happen, I think that WandaVision is going to be the catalyst. What's going to happen here is going to have an ambiguous ending. You don't quite know what happened. But one thing we do know with this reality hopping characters coming from Fox and Sony movies into the MCU is scheduled to happen, I believe, in WandaVision, because I think she pulls Evan Peters in as Quicksilver, not the dude that actually played him in the MCU. So I think you're going to find out that she is actually robbing characters from other universes. The vision you're seeing in the series is a vision from another universe, and that's what's destabilizing shit. She's just randomly pulling shit into this universe she can have. Like, what was it with Doctor Strange said? It was like 1,445,516 futures. That's a bare minimum of what could possibly be out there. And some of them, I'm sure they do have kids. Hell, Scarlet Witch probably steals her kids from the comic book for all we know, because they actually were there. But I think that's what you're seeing. You're going to have the catalyst being this. Spider-Man's going to be showcasing what just happened to the rest of the world, not just what Wanda's doing. And you're not going to reveal to the end of that, oh shit, Wanda's doing this. And then you're going to basically bounce over to Doctor Strange, where, as you guys are saying, that's going to be the solution. We're going to ham this shit out and figure it out. And it's the way that you can get all of Marvel movies, no matter where they've been from, and if they were as unrespected as frickin' Howard the Duck, all the way up to frickin' Logan, they're going to pull them all in and make it all one big family, for better or worse. And that's how you can have stuff like, I still think Hugh Jackman's going to show up in Doctor Strange too. Just calling it, just as a legacy, throw him a bone, because this man was his character for so many years. You need to recast him, but he needs to have some regard of respect. But I really feel like WandaVision is the only thing that needs to come before any of those, because that's where you're going to see the cracks in the system happen, and they're going to explore that to find out what the cracks are in Spider-Man, and then holy shit, we know what they are.
Yesterday, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, Kylis, because this is really quick. But yesterday, Russell and I were discussing how there's no way. He said there's no way John Boyega would come back to a show, or to come back to Star Wars at all. And I'm like, never say never on it, because Harrison Ford come back, anybody can come back. However,
that's true.
I think Hugh Jackman is the exception to that rule. I think him and Patrick Stewart are done. Like, I really do.
They're done?
I do. I don't think they're ever coming back to this.
Hogan is the highest bar.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. They will never have the movie to themselves, but as they show up as cameos of characters they are from other universes, I totally see that.
Maybe in What If. Like, I could see them doing cartoon voices, but live action, like, because it'd be hard to. I mean, it'd be hard. People love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine so much. It'd be hard to sell. Oh, he's just going to show up for a minute and then we're never going to see him again.
You could only do it if he was old as piss. And luckily, there is a story that just so happens to have Wolverine old as piss and raising the Hulk baby. And if that happens to show up as a weird universe to look into, I'm not offended. I'm not offended at all.
So, in other words, are you telling?
Coming back for Batman, then it's possible for Wolverine.
That is true. Michael Keaton come back as Batman. That's true. That is very true.
Ford came back as Han. Keaton.
Yeah.
All right, never say never. Never say money talks. Nostalgia walks.
Yep. Yeah. And especially because I feel like Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman are the go-to, and maybe Ian McKellen are the go-to representatives for that Fox X universe.
I agree.
Showcasing them would go a long way in proving that system is what we're saying it is.
Yeah. Those are the big three of the X-Men universe. I would agree. Those three right there you just mentioned. Sorry, Kyle. You were going to say something.
No, it's all good. So one last thought to build on Hudson's, because I think that all makes sense. I wonder if, and the MCU has been very good historically about consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You look at Tony and Iron Man 3. You look at all of these things, you know, the Sokovia Accords, and, you know, you look at just sort of things build off of each other because this happens, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nothing since Iron Man, very few things have just like started again out of whole cloth, right? Not coming from anywhere. So I wonder if the origin of this, the multiverse stuff that maybe is sort of stabilized with Doctor Strange, because I imagine they don't want to cut off the multiverse at that point, right? Where there is no multiverse. Instead, it's just this planet. You know, once you've opened that door, you don't want to shut it completely. And Doctor Strange would be the one to figure out how to control it, given the magic and the things that he and his group does, and the way they mess with dimensions and time and all of that shit anyway. But I wonder if the origin of this actually does go back to all the stuff I was potentially complaining about, depending on what happens in Endgame, where they went back in time, they fucked with the timeline. And if that started causing these, you know, because it's not until after that you get your first glimpse of the idea of the multiverse in Spider-Man with Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever the character's name is. I can never remember his name.
Mysterio.
Oh, Mysterio.
Yes, Mysterio. Thank you. Yeah. Where you first get the idea, right? He wasn't from another dimension, but that was the idea, right?
Yeah.
You're sort of opening that door a little bit. So I wonder if, you know, because of the events of Endgame and the time travel and all of that, and Gamora being here now, and Thanos, whatever the hell happened to him, if Tony snapped his fingers and sent him back to 2014 without knowing what happened, or if he just dusted him completely, and now in some other universe everything's fucked, you know. And you have in Loki have what looks to be like these like
fucked over another universe,
right? If there's these like time interdimensional police force that are like going after Loki for fucking with the timeline and for all of that. I wonder if the cracks start to form and somebody is using Wanda and her powers to try to widen those cracks.
Oh,
you know, so then that sort of opens things up to then start fucking with Spider-Man at the end of the year, and then Doctor Strange comes in and stabilizes things, and like.
And if it's Nightmare, boom, ties your bow up right there.
Yeah,
I really do. John, do you or Potter have any recommendations to me on stuff I could read on Nightmare, a story? I don't know Nightmare that well. I'd like to read some stuff. I
don't know a lot of huge arcs that he's been a part of. I think he's in Doctor Strange The Oath. Doctor Strange, he's a character that really just shines when he's dealing with weird ass shit, and he doesn't tend to retread the same ground too often, at least not consistently. I can't think of a specific story that he's in that Nightmare was the main cause of, outside of like Defender's Tales. Where he's in Nightmares, Obama was doing something to rile up the Hulk and Submariner and Silver Surfer, and they all go after him.
But even just individual issues, it doesn't necessarily need to be. I mean, so I should look for Doctor Strange stuff, just because he sounds interesting as hell.
He's mostly a Doctor Strange villain, but he affects everybody. Like he just did, and I don't know if you picked this up or not, but the recent issue of Fantastic Four, it was a one-shot called Grim Noir, and it's basically Ben Grimm doing a detective.
Oh wait, I did have that. Yes, I do have that.
Nightmare is in that. Yeah. So
anyway,
but
all right, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Just Google him.
I want to look him up.
Just go on the Marvel wiki.
Sorry. All right.
I'll research and see what I can figure out. See if I can figure anything out. I think he's part of the Order, which is where I think he influences the Defenders to kind of go and do like a martial law kind of thing across the Marvel universe. And so basically, because you have Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Hulk, and Submariner saying, "All right, guys, this is how it's going to be," most of the world kind of gets cowed into doing it. Yeah. I think he had something to do with that, but I'd have to look it up for you because, like I said, he's a good character, but he shows up so infrequently in the most talked about stories. It'd be hard.
I do have it.
Yeah, that's it.
Grim Nor. I do have it in my collection.
Right.
Awesome.
All right, cool.
Okay, so
what do we got next time?
Yeah, so I'm going to jump in because we're less than halfway through this, and
I know.
we're already going on
less
more
than
an
halfway.
hour now.
Jesus Christ!
That's
All right.
how much they announced. So,
We
May
might have to
6th,
do Star Wars another day. Sorry, go ahead.
Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder. Potter, you wanted
Potter.
to?
Sweet. I'll make it hopefully quick. I am very excited about this one for the simple fact that one, we get Gore the God Butcher, which is an awesome villain name. Awesome villain
And Christian
name.
Bale was born to play a villain, so I'm excited for this.
Yes. Yeah, that's reason number 2. Christian Bale playing a villain in a superhero movie is going to be great. And this is probably one of my favorite Thor runs. It's the start of Jason Aaron's time on Thor. It goes for, this is another one you could read. I know I talked about it on our thread, but it's, like I said, it's like 12 issues, very low commitment. It's Thor, the Mighty Thor, God of Thunder, and then it's God Bomb. So that kind of ties up everything with Gore for a bit. And then he comes back into play. The quick, without ruining anything for anyone that wants to read it, Gore the God Butcher basically is after Thor and all of the other mythical gods of the Marvel universe from the start of time. He is able to, like, he goes after young Thor, middle-aged Thor, like probably Chris Hemsworth Thor, we'll say, and then also future Thor, where Thor is the king of Asgard, because Odin is dead and gone. And so you get these 3 different time periods of Thor fighting Gore the God Butcher and trying to defeat him, because the last god left at the end of all time is Thor within the Marvel universe. And Gore kind of says that, like, you and I are going to be fighting at the end of it all. So this could have another kind of big ramification for the cosmic side of things and the Marvel universe at whole, because we might get to see what happens at the end of it all, depending on how they go with this. I don't know, because my fear is with putting in Jane Foster as Thor, which I desperately want to see as well, this movie might get a little overstuffed, and you might not be able to service both of those characters well. I have faith that Taika can do it. I'm not that worried about it, but there's so much you can do with Gore and so much you can do with Jane Foster that we'll see what they do with it. The other thing I wanted to mention, just because of how hot Donny Cates is right now, he's currently writing Thor. He took over after Jason Aaron is.
I know, I want to read it.
You get a villain called Null that comes into play, and he's the god of symbiotes. So he's the one that created the Venom symbiote. He's the one that Venom creates Carnage, technically. And there's this whole planet of symbiotes in the Marvel universe that we haven't even seen yet.
This is the way you could tie Venom into MCU,
yes,
by the way.
that too. I think we're eventually going to get to that point, just because people love Venom so much, right? Especially right now, it's so popular that they're going to have to pull that story in. Yeah. And Null's first appearance as a cameo kind of thing is within Jason Aaron's run on Thor.
Oh wait, I don't have that. I have his first appearance in Venom. He appears in Thor first?
I think he's at least mentioned in Thor. I'll have to go back and check to be sure. But I think it's a cameo appearance.
My book is worth $300, so I'm excited. It's like the 3rd printing.
So the other stuff that you get in the Gore storyline is you get something called the Necro Sword, or the All Black, which has ramifications with Ego, with Null, with Gore. So I don't want to go into too many wild theories just yet because we don't have any information, but there are a lot of pieces in this Gore storyline that could set up things for years to come, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm super excited about the next Thor because of how awesome the last movie was. So I'm all for everything you just said, and I love Null and the Venom stuff. And yeah, I just want to interject real quick here because I think Russell has to get going pretty soon here. Do you have to leave us soon, Russell? Do you turn into a pumpkin soon?
It's like within the next 15-20 minutes, so I just have to.
Oh, okay. We should hopefully we can wrap up pretty soon because I know Kyle's got bread making to get to. What is it called? A challah?
Challah.
Oh,
Challah,
you don't
yeah.
pronounce the C.
Chocolate chip challah.
Challah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong.
If I really want to try this bread. I saw it when you showed the picture. I was like, "Ooh, I want to eat this."
I know.
Anyway,
you're just hoping I don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next.
All right, keep going.
The next up, we have July of 2022, Black Panther 2.
Yes. So, and this is kind of we don't have to get too deep into it, but obviously, Chadwick Boseman's untimely passing, and I don't know if I'm still kind of not over that death. Like, he's my age. He's 43 when he died, and his birthday just happened, and they announced immediately on the thing. I think Feige said we are not recasting T'Challa. That doesn't necessarily mean Black Panther needs to go away because obviously Shuri can take over. I know Letitia's gotten a little bit of hot water with her. Was it anti-masks or anti-vaccinations? Something she's against got her in social media trouble, but she'll be fine. I would love if she took over. I would also love bringing Killmonger back somehow and having him take the mantle. I don't see that happening, but you already have a movie star in your fold with Michael B. Jordan, and I think Kyle said it. Didn't you say, Kyle, that you originally wanted him to be Black Panther, even though obviously we love Boseman?
That was not me, but I mean,
somebody said
asked Michael B. Jordan as the shark.
Maybe it was
Moorhead.
It was Moorhead who said it.
I think it was Moorhead.
Yeah, but obviously Boseman was fantastic. So I mean, and I was excited when they announced him as casting too. But anyway, that's all my thing about Black Panther. I talked about earlier with representation. It's awesome, and it's going to keep going. And Ryan Coogler is one of our finest filmmakers, and if he's still excited to do the story, I'm excited to go wherever he wants to take us. So that's pretty much all I got to say about BP.
One side note for that one, do be on the lookout for Andy Serkis to come back as a CG version of Claw. Probably got some red tights going on, maybe
yeah, dude. Yeah,
so do be on the lookout for that. And honestly, if Killmonger comes back, don't be surprised because I know they use I use solid sound to make this bullshit item out of nowhere. Don't be surprised if he's like, I'm Killmonger, but I'm made of sound, and so it's gonna fade away, or it's gonna be like a hologram that breaks down, a sound hologram. Figure it out, Marvel.
However, we can get Michael B. Jordan. I never
sonogram.
I never don't.
Kyle.
I never don't. This I don't know if this makes sense. I never don't want Michael B. Jordan on the screen. But anyway.
I think you can make images and goofy shit out of sound. So if he can make a fake Michael B. Jordan and put himself in it the way Gyllenhaal did with Mysterio, I can see him really screwing with Shuri if he does that. So who knows?
I could see that. All right. What do we got next?
All right. So my birthday in 2022, November 11th, is Captain Marvel 2.
Yay, Captain Marvel 2, which we talked about a little bit with Miss Marvel. So Potter or John, you have something to say there?
Nothing too big. Obviously, we don't know too much about it right now, but the big thing that I'm betting on, and the thing that I've seen crop up a little bit more now since it's been starting to be talked about, is expecting Rogue to potentially be the villain. Because, little known fact, she didn't all just come out spunky and leather jacket wearing and wearing like a one piece.
Hey y'all.
She was definitely evil beforehand, and she definitely worked with Mystique. And she definitely stole that girl's powers. And that's why Anna Paquin couldn't do it, because Fox did not have the rights to Miss Marvel. So she had to stay depressing and goth for 3 films. But that's not the problem anymore, because now you finally got Rogue in the same universe.
Wait. Hold on. You just blew my mind. That's how she got those powers?
Yeah,
Yes.
she steals them from, she literally holds on to Miss Marvel for too long fighting the Avengers, and the powers stick. And not only does she get the powers, she gets her memories. So for a little while there, Rogue has basically Miss Marvel's memories plus her memories. She's freaking out. And who does she get help from? That's right. Goldilocks himself, Professor X. And that's how she gets hooked up with the X-Men.
I did not.
Boom.
Okay, you just opened a can of worms that I did not know. Wow, I did not know Rogue started off with bad guy.
The X-Men series.
Oh my god, I did not know that. Wait, did the X-Men series explore that?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miss Marvel comes into the X-Men series after she comes out of a coma because her powers are wonky because of what Rogue did, and she goes up and hangs out with them in space, and they get screwed up by the Brood. And while she's up there, the Brood experiment on her, and then boom, Miss Marvel now has her new persona as binary. So she's all fiery and red, and
I did not
like a diet version of the
these
Phoenix.
episodes. I have to go watch these episodes on the show then, because the recent Captain Marvel had her and Rogue as enemies, but then they teamed up.
Oh yeah, no, you got it.
But they don't. I mean, Rogue's still a good guy, but it was time Captain Marvel had animosity.
Oh yeah,
it's old dirty blood. They hate. They ooh.
That time period or that like storyline within the comics, that's some of my favorite Uncanny X-Men stuff. Just right in there.
Wow,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, because in the X-Men, because we don't get to appreciate this growing up in having our child heydays in the late 80s and 90s. Rogue had to earn her ups. She didn't just come in there with like an open arm. She was a bitch. She stole people's power. She put people in comas. Like the X-Men had to learn to trust this girl. And eventually by the 90s and Jim Lee came around, it was okay. But there was a lot that had to happen in a very scantily clad trip to the Savage Land that had to occur before we were all okay with this.
Oh my God, yes.
I want to read that.
It's X-Men 275.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you just made me really excited about Captain Marvel too. Not that I wasn't already, but
this is speculation. This is what I think is going to be happening. This is what it's starting to hear rumbles about.
But you've been right before.
I'm not saying I haven't.
Isn't Nick Fury in that Savage Land story too?
I think he is, because it's him, Magneto, and her.
Yeah.
All right. What we got next, Kyle?
Okay, so we have about 12 things left.
Nice, one down.
But now we are at the point where it is all amorphous, and we have no idea when any of this is coming.
That's better. That's better. That's better.
Bring them out.
So we'll try to get through these a little more quickly. I'm going to combine these two. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and in the holiday season before that, we will be getting the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Somebody told me that is going to tie into the Guardians 3. I think I read that somewhere. And is it going to be Lego or animated? Like the way Star Wars?
They're shooting it when they shoot the.
No, they're just filming them at the same time.
Oh, so it's live action?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's big news. That's big news for me.
They'll be filming them together.
That's amazing. All right. Well, you can also throw in the I Am Groot series too, even though it's like later down the line.
That's true. Yeah, we have no idea when that's coming, but
we don't know, and it's just short. It's just shorts from what I understand.
That's animated, right?
That's animated.
Got a crack on his baby Groot height.
I'm gonna guess he's teenage Groot.
I am Groot.
I like teenage Groot.
Is that animated?
Seeds everywhere, being gross.
I thought it. Well, it says it's shorts, so I can't imagine it's.
Oh no! Wait, maybe there's something else I'm thinking of. That's. I don't know. There's something I was thinking of where they're like, and so is going to be in this, and you're probably going to see some other people you recognize too. And for some reason, I thought that was Groot, but maybe not.
Oh, maybe. But it might be.
Oh my God! Could they?
You saw the thing.
They would go to Lumpy's planet where Chewie's parents are and go visit them for the holiday, do you?
That'd be amazing. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Oh my! No, they couldn't. They couldn't.
No,
dude. Do you think they have the balls to combine the worlds? Marvel and Star Wars.
Not with that. Do it during a holiday special. Holy shit! I don't know, guys. I gotta sit down. I am sitting down, but I need to lay down.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look up this Groot thing really quick while you guys move on to She-Hulk.
Okay, back She-Hulk. That looks like it's gonna be fun. Oh, the sun has got me. Oh!
Wow, that is right on your face.
I'm going to fix this, but the thing I want to talk about was obviously courtroom drama. I'm thinking Ally McBeal with superpowers. I'm hoping it's going to get Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, maybe.
And they also confirmed the actress that denied that she was it, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of her name.
Well, I think contractually she's like, I'm not She-Hulk. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
Russell knows her name. What's her name, Russell?
Tatiana Maslany.
There you go.
Yeah, from
Black, right?
Orphan Black. Yep.
Yeah. Didn't they mention that Matt Murdock is coming back? Didn't they already announce that Charlie Cox is coming back?
Yeah, I thought it was for either Spider-Man or.
I think it was all rumored because they just got the rights back to Daredevil, so there was a lot of speculation on that. Because I think in the past month or two, like literally the rights to Daredevil just went back to Marvel. So I think they was like, "Oh, we can do it. Let's make it happen." Which I'm not opposed to.
It says it's confirmed.
Is it confirmed? Hell,
yeah! I thought it was for Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Yeah, because Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil.
Yeah,
Nice.
he like
Nice.
Feige
He's gonna-
was up there and like he would announce the thing and then it would like have their picture. And he's like, he's in it, and he's in it, and they're in it, and they're in it. And
He's
they're in
gonna defend. He's gonna defend Spider-Man now that the world is against Spider-Man. He's
Yep.
gonna take the case. That's what's gonna
Oh,
happen.
dude, great call, Potter. That'd be amazing.
Nope.
Spider-Man 3 has got to be 7 hours long. Like, it's.
I hope so.
I know, me too. Like, I
would watch it.
I would sit in the theater for 7 hours if we had intermissions at least.
Yeah.
Watching a Spider-Man movie.
Give me, you know what? It's like Gone with the Wind. Give me an intermission at the midway point. I'll go out and get some more popcorn and a soda and
guys-
come back in for part 2. Fine.
You guys understand my assigned ringtone for all of you guys and Moorhead is the Spider-Man thwip. So anytime you guys text, I know it's you because it's the Spider-Man thwip. You know, because that sound makes me so happy.
I mean, can I get the Wolverine sneak?
I wonder if they have that. That'd be good too. I should do that and just assign it to John. All right.
It's somewhere in the internet.
All right. Let's Kyle, did you find what you were looking for?
So no, there was no information as to whether it's animated or live action or any of that.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can move on to the next. What was? Oh wait, no, Spider-Man 3. I mean, there's more to talk about in there. Right?
No,
we talked.
we're
We're on.
We already talked about
Oh,
it.
we're
She-Hulk.
on sort of.
Oh, She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
again,
Did you?
wait, are we on what are we
Yeah.
on?
We were She-Hulk because you mentioned
She-Hulk.
that's where we started talking about Daredevil.
That's
So-
what it was, sidetracked. Okay. And we know she's defending the Abomination or some such thing as this nature.
Tim Roth. Yeah. Tim Roth is back.
Which,
As-
since he doesn't look exactly like the Hulk, if he gets off and gets a good trial here, maybe that would explain why he joins the Dark Avengers and is like, oh, I'm just a recovering bad guy looking to do good for my community.
Wait, are we getting the leader back as well?
Well, somebody
Oh,
asked
he
that.
does show
Who
up.
asked-
Steve Mustard?
Russell asked it. Yeah, Russell asked that question last night because it was wondering how the rights go with Universal. And the way I understand it is they can use any character from the Hulk, which is why they can use She-Hulk. They just cannot make a Hulk movie without Universal involved.
Yes.
That's the
Right.
only thing.
Well-
So they got to do a Sony thing where
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just the fact that Universal has the distribution rights to a movie. So they can basically Marvel could do whatever it wants. It can make a Hulk movie, but that doesn't mean they're going to get to release it or actually make the fucking money off of it at the end of the day.
So
That's why you're
Universal
seeing
makes
them
all the
sneak
money.
these guys in a TV show.
Okay,
Because it's not technically a movie. Gotcha.
that's fine. All right.
I hope
moving
the
on.
last thing I'll say with the She-Hulk, I hope we get the sad Hulk theme coming back. Like she loses a court case and you get da 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 da.
Well, they did it in Edward Norton's. I don't think.
Not again.
Yeah, they did it in Edward Norton's.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right,
It was
Kyle. What we got
amazing.
next?
Yeah, so we can. I mean, I know you guys are gonna have 20 minutes on some of these, but I'm just gonna mention them together because they're all Disney Plus series that are coming someday.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I gotta go in about 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
we have Moon Knight,
I
Secret
will say-
Invasion,
Oh, go
Ironheart, and Armor Wars.
So the one thing I'll say about Moon Knight is, Kyle, I think this character is a character you will very much be interested in because the whole premise of Moon Knight is he has multiple personality disorder. I don't know if
Yes.
it's technically called that anymore, if it's something else. But he's essentially given his powers by the moon god, the Egyptian god of the moon. But he's combined with all of these other alternate personalities from all these other people. So he's literally nuts. And he deals with that in the comic and everything. There's a couple of newer volumes that I think they'll pull from. So I'll give you those. And if you want to read them, you can, but it's super interesting. And the character, I think, if they do it right, will be kind of a standout on the Disney Plus shows. Just because it is very grounded and very kind of, I don't know, just like realistic problems. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with that kind of character, I think. Because he's also, there's times where he's kind of a little bit more of a villain here and there, just because of his, his trauma and all of the other personalities living inside of his head. So yeah, I think it'll be fun.
All right.
Yeah. That's all I'll say about that.
Well, you said you wanted to say something about Secret Invasion. Did you?
Oh yeah, I do. I'll make this quick. Secret Invasion. We got a little bit of that at the end of
Is that the Skrulls?
Spider-Man 2.
It's the Skrulls. Yeah, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, where Fury's up on the space station.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
So that is absolutely Sword, the organization called Sword, and they deal specifically with things like Skrull invasions.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know, right? So I think we're gonna get another faction of Skrulls. It's not gonna be the ones that we've already seen, because we know those guys are just refugees, at least as much as we know. And the great thing about Secret Invasion is you had all of these superheroes that were replaced by Skrulls, and nobody knew. The real heroes were kept aboard a ship, and in stasis, and they had to be rescued eventually within that story. But that's where you had people like I want to say Spider-Woman and some of those other characters coming into play, who had to figure out who was a Skrull and who wasn't. And it was this whole like, how do I know you're not a Skrull? Captain America was a Skrull for a little bit.
I remember that, yeah. I do remember the storyline now. I do remember this, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And I think it's actually pretty interesting and topical right now. Just, a secret society within our society controlling our society. Sound familiar? Sound like anything happening or anything that's trying to happen? Yeah, I won't go political, but I think this might be where we get some introductions to some other characters, potentially like Spider-Woman, maybe some random oddball characters like Darkhawk. I would love to see Darkhawk pop up in something eventually, just because he's a pretty cool character. So there's a lot of stuff that could happen.
It's insane how many characters are in both Marvel and DC universe. Like, it's,
oh my God,
it's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And then let's go quickly to Armor Wars. Then, John, you had something to say about Armor Wars.
Yeah, just excited that Don Cheadle was able to inherit the storyline from Tony, because
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, the basic premise is a bunch of Iron Man's tech has been stolen, which from previous Marvel films we've already seen that to be the case. I mean, Vulture, case in point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be basically Don Cheadle going around and taking out all the people using Iron Man's tech.
I love that. I love that.
Maliciously, but...
Yep.
I hope it's
Russell. Russell's
just
jumping off
hammer.
guys.
Bye, Russell.
Bye, Russell.
So okay, cool. Well, I'm excited about that too. I'm just excited about more Cheeto and more Iron Man suits, and like you said, Justin Hammer comes back.
Well, and not only that, Justin Hammer's going to be there, because the people that were actually using this in the comic was pretty crazy. You had freaking Titanium Man, Crimson Dynamo, Stingray, who was an Avenger that he kind of okayed, which I think is the route that Riri Williams, who's going to be Ironheart, will play. Yeah. Because I'm sure Don Cheadle will come after her if we've already done Ironheart at that point. She'll be like, man, I made this. And be like, oh, good job. And then fly off.
Yeah. More representation, too. I'm loving it. More representation. I'm loving it.
Absolutely. All right. And also, the biggest baddie that I think he had to go up against in that story was arguably Dr. Doom. Just because I know Dr. Doom did steal some of Stark's stuff. So hopefully the Fantastic Four movie will be out by that point. We can take advantage. Otherwise,
we'll see. They might get introduced in Secret Invasion too, even as just a little cameo, since the whole idea of Skrulls being on Earth for a long time in disguise started in Fantastic Four when they agreed to become cows, essentially.
I think that is very true.
There were four of them that decided, okay, we got beat by the Fantastic Four because they appeared as the Fantastic Four to discredit them and invade Earth. Fantastic Four beat them, and they agreed to live out the rest of their existence on Earth as cows.
Oh, and I can spin it off even further than that. 20 years down the road, those cows are taken to the slaughterhouse and turned into hamburgers, and they're eaten. And the 5 people that end up eating those hamburgers then get Skrull powers. So then they become the Skrull Kill Crew, and they start killing Skrulls with Skrull powers and the Skrull Kill Crew.
And then they merge together to form the Super Skrull. I don't know.
Power Ranger style.
All right. What was the other thing, Kyle? You mentioned 3 things out of those. What was the third one?
Ironheart, I think.
Oh, yeah, Ironheart. Okay, so they're all. Yeah, you already mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it. Okay, so what do we got left?
So now we have the 3 movies that are someday
somewhere in the distance. Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
And I'm just excited they announced the 3rd one. That's all. And I hope that, because I know Evangeline Lilly got into some social media hot water, but I think she's fine. I think things have smoothed over, but we'll see.
There's almost nobody who's gotten in social media hot water that has not been fine. Yeah, like it's not even a thing.
As long as you're not convicted of a crime, you're good. Go.
Fantastic Four and then Blade.
All right. Well, let's finish it off right now then, because I was going to take Fantastic Four and I'll mention. We'll start with Blade a little bit. I'm just excited to have Blade back. Like I don't care who it is that plays it. I have faith in their casting. If they've already announced it, cool. But the TV show was
Isn't that
not great.
Mahershala Ali?
Is that who they announced?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very excited now.
I think Wesley Snipes is going to be Whistler.
Yes. Yeah.
Shut up.
I think so.
Okay, now you got me really excited. Okay, I'm full on. I was already in for Blade, but now I'm just like fully on it.
Yeah.
All right.
So there are going to be vampires in the MCU, is what we're saying.
Yes.
Yes.
Vampires in the MCU. That's what's amazing. And then and I hope they bring Dracula. I hope they bring Dracula into it too. I don't know how they can do that because Universal owns that character, but
well, it's public right. It's like public domain. I think you don't do the Universal when you do your own version, you're good to go.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
And the vampires are playing just did play a pretty big part in the current X-Men books too. Like there was a vampire invasion, essentially like an infestation that happened. Yeah.
And also, what was one of the trailers? Was it What If? One of the trailers showed a Marvel zombie.
Plus, here's the thing: we're getting Morbius at some point too from Sony.
Oh, that's true.
So Morbius is a vampire.
That's very true.
Yeah, Morbius is a living vampire.
Oh my God! If we get Midnight Suns someday with Ghost Rider, that is one of my favorite stories of all time. Like I love Midnight Suns.
And the Legion of Monsters too.
I am disappointed that didn't get. They didn't announce anything Ghost Rider, which makes me kind of sad. But that's okay. So and the last thing was Fantastic Four.
We got those two great Nick Cage movies.
Well, we did have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know they don't matter. I know the show doesn't matter to the MCU, Kyle. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did a great Ghost Rider arc. So with Robbie Reyes, it was really good. I'm sad they canceled that show, but it's probably because of what when Feige took over doing TV too. It was like, well, we're not doing that anymore.
I think it's because it went like 7 seasons.
Agents.
Also that. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying. Ghost Rider. Well, they had 3 spinoffs coming out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that all got canceled. The one with Adrian Padalecki and
Mockingbird.
Mockingbird. That one got canceled, and then Ghost Rider, and then the third one was. But anyway, and to finish off with Fantastic Four, I didn't have to say much about this, but I'm just so excited that Fantastic Four is coming. I really wanted it to be John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. They could still be in it, but they're not writing and directing it because John Watts is of Spider-Man, which I'm fine with because so far he has knocked it out, both of them out of the park. And I have a feeling 3 is going to be really, really good too. But even though history has shown that the third movies in most trilogies, with the exception of maybe Thor Ragnarok, usually aren't the strongest. But we'll see. But I'm just really excited that Fantastic Four is going to get its due because I said so many times, without Fantastic Four and Joni Lee, that's her name, right? Stan Lee's wife. Yep. Without those 2 things, we wouldn't have Marvel Comics as we know it because Stan Lee was going to quit in 1960 something or whatever it was in the early 1960s. And then Joni said, no, do that superhero family thing you were going to do. Try that first, and then you can quit if it doesn't succeed. 1961, we got Fantastic Four, and the Marvel Universe is here. So Marvel, I'm just excited that they're going to get the respect they deserve because the 3 movies that they've made.
You don't like Fan Four Stick?
Stick. That's true. Here's the thing.
You're totally right.
I like parts of all 3 of those movies, but yeah, they have not done it justice.
The Doug Jones Lawrence Fishburne combo for Silver Surfer, I thought was beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. Casting they got right. The first Fantastic Four movies, even the recent one, the casting was right. It's just those people didn't understand the Fantastic Four. So that's all.
I do still want to see Chris Evans pop up in maybe Multiverse of Madness as Human Torch.
That would be amazing.
And also as Captain America and have a point Spider-Man type moment.
That'd be amazing. Well, Russell did say in the pod we did last night, Russell did say something about the multiverse somehow bringing in the Fantastic Four. And I thought that'd be amazing because, Johnny and Peter Parker are best friends. Like that's like one of his best friends. So anyway, so I'm just very excited that Fantastic Four is coming. What just happened? I
also still see, and I'll shut up after this because I know Kyle's got to go and I need to go too.
Yeah,
I could also see Ant-Man I could still see that bringing in the Fantastic Four as well, or at least helping bring that in. Having them be stuck in the negative zone, which is just another layer of whatever. Or, I mean, I guess that could just as easily pop up in Doctor Strange. But that's why we haven't seen them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe until this point, because they've been stuck over there the whole time. They come back through the barrier, get powers, or have had powers over there. And yeah, I don't know.
I'm all for it, man.
There's a lot of ways to go for it. I just hope we get some Kirby monsters. I want some Jack Kirby style monsters.
Yeah.
I want Monster Island. I want the Mole Man.
Jack.
I want that whole storyline.
The king,
Don't do Doom. I hope they save Doom, and I hope they build to Doctor Doom.
Slow play him. Yeah. Slow. Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
I think Fantastic Four will help set up Secret Invasion, because Secret Invasion isn't scheduled yet either, right?
I don't think
no, it's not.
No release date.
Okay.
And that's a live action show or cartoon?
No, it's going to be it's going to be live action.
Secret Invasion is live action. Yeah.
So many of these things are live action that I was surprised. I was like, I thought they were animated.
There's,
live action.
I think the only officially animated thing is What If.
Really? Wow.
Yep. I think we'll get Fantastic Four. We'll get our Captain Marvel 2, obviously. We'll get Monica Rambeau set up, all of that stuff, since that deals with Skrulls as well. And then we'll get the Fantastic Four and Captain Marvel or Captain Marvels hunting down Skrulls in Secret Invasion.
Cool. Well,
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Nick Fury in Secret Invasion.
I'm in. Yes.
That too. Oh yeah.
I'm in for all of it. I'm very excited. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for today. We will. I don't know how much time am I about to split this into two, but we'll see.
I don't know.
Or three. This was a pretty long pod, at least an hour and a half.
God, wait till we do the Star Wars version of this.
I can't. It's gonna be insane. So, but
maybe we'll save that.
I don't know, man, because we'll have two Mando episodes to talk about next week and Star Wars. Oh well.
Yeah, we'll do 12 hours of potting next Friday.
Good thing is hopefully all of us are going into Christmas vacation. So maybe we'll have time then too. Anyway,
quote Flight of the Conchords: "When you're unemployed, there's no vacation."
Well, it won't be for much longer, Kyle. Hopefully, whatever you just applied for and you're talking about the other day, you get. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, hey, Jackie's looking for a PA if you want to step back to being a PA again for a little while in a movie. Nah, I don't think you're gonna go there. Yeah. All right, fair enough. All right, everybody. So this has been the Infinity Watch. I am Daniel Villalobos. With me, as always, is Kyle Bound, John Hudson, and Joshua Potter, and of course Russell, who left early. We will see you all next time in the multiverse.
Oh yeah. Au revoir.